less than a week ago, I posted a video called False Victimhood. And it's amazing how, by just browsing social media, I was able to come up with footage to make a follow-up. So this is more false victimhood. Today we'll meet people desperate to appear oppressed, that the world is against them and we need to feel sorry for them. So we'll begin with a woman who's been on this channel before, a Canadian plus-size influencer who today is complaining about airlines. By that I mean companies that operate aeroplanes, not flexible tubing used to deliver compressed air.
My body isn't the problem, the system is. Airlines are making it difficult for plus-size people to travel by designing seats that are too small for even the average human. My worst experience on a flight was this one time when I was flying standby and I got stuck in the bulkhead row where the armrest couldn't be moved. The flight was full, so I had no choice but to stay in the seat. I endured excruciating pain for hours, wedged between the armrests, which left bruises on my body. I was on the verge of tears by the end and in so much pain that I almost vowed to never fly again. The physical pain lasted for days, but the emotional toll of being treated like I didn't belong was even harder to recover from. Airlines aren't doing anything at all to make it easier for plus-size people to travel. When you're forced to buy two seats or squeeze into a space that wasn't designed for your body, it's not just inconvenient, it's dehumanizing.
Now, something that royally boils my piss when I fly is that I have to be so precise with my hand luggage, because if it's a millimetre too big or weighs a gram too much, then it'll be taken from me and put into the hold of the same plane, but I'll get charged £65 for the privilege. Yet, people like her can fly for the same price as me. Now, what's using more fuel? Me packing an extra t-shirt or the creature from the Abyss Lagoon? And I'm not trying to be cruel, because I know some people have genetic conditions that mean they gain weight. But that woman has previously complained that corridors in hotels need to be wider. I'm sorry, if your girth is such that you do not fit comfortably inside buildings, then you are the problem. And I'm far from thin and I'm above average height. I have no problem getting on a plane. And the real victim is whoever gets to sit next to her. Because I firmly believe when you buy a plane ticket, you are renting that space. But if she's sat next to you, she's just going to be spilling into it. It's vile. And the dehumanisation, she's done that to herself.
The other day I went to a restaurant with my girlfriend and my 4-year-old, and the server came up and said, "Hello, ladies," and proceeded to take our drink order. And as soon as the server left, my 4-year-old looked at me and just gasped and was like, "They called you a lady." She also corrected a family member the other day who she heard me and just went, "They, them, they, them, they, them," over and over again until they acknowledged her. All that to say, if my freshly 4-year-old can figure out pronouns, so can your shitty boomer parents. No more excuses.
So the server observed two women and addressed them as ladies, which is not only accurate but also very polite, unlike that woman who is raising, or rather brainwashing, her own daughter. Because if you have a 4-year-old correcting family members because the mother chooses not to live in reality, and then labels people as shitty because they won't play make-believe, that's fucking child abuse. Not only that, but rightly or wrongly, I'm assuming when she mentioned her girlfriend, I'm guessing that's her partner. And here's the thing, 20 years ago, she would have just been a butch lesbian. But of course, in 2025, no one gives a shit about sexuality, and nor should they. But that means then, if she's not being oppressed due to her sexuality, she needs to find something else to be the victim of. So, surprise, surprise, she's a fucking they, them.
I can't pee in 4% of America right now. So
you can't pee in 4% of America.
In 4% of America, it is illegal for me to use the men's restroom in government buildings.
So, because of the biology bill that they just passed?
Yes, because I am biologically female, I cannot use the men's restroom in Florida or Utah.
What would you say to people who would say, well, just use the family restroom or a gender-neutral restroom if it's available? Like, what would your thoughts on that be?
What am I supposed to do if there isn't a gender-neutral restroom available? Am I supposed to just hold it? Or am I supposed to just wet my pants? Literally, there's no point to it other than to keep trans people out of the spaces they belong in, because, you know, they...
It's illegal for her to use the men's restrooms. Well, yes, because she's a woman, albeit a very ugly woman who's smashing herself full of testosterone in order to grow a rather shitty beard, whilst doing untold damage to her immune system. Does she not realise what danger she's putting herself in going into a male-only space? Because no matter what she identifies as, if she's still got girls' parts, there are men out there, wrong uns, who will want to use her girls' parts whether she likes it or not. And if there isn't a gender-neutral bathroom? Now I know over in the New World laws vary state by state, but I find it hard to believe that in an official government building there wouldn't be a disabled restroom. So surely she could use that. And my thinking is the law isn't about keeping trans people out of places they should be. It's that there are cross-dressing perverts, and we know this because it's happened multiple times, men who will dress up as women in order to go into female-only spaces to do unspeakable things to women and girls. And here's the main thing. Why is she so obsessed with going to the gents? Because she still has to sit down to piss. If she pisses standing up, she'll get her shoes wet, like roughly 50% of us men do. And I say this all the time. I believe the vast majority of trans people are just trying to live their lives, and if that's you, I wish you the very best. But the more I look into the issue, apparently, according to TikTok, a major thing of being transgender is being obsessed on where you can go for a shit. Moving on.
I just threw a pie into the face of a Tesla robot. Because these ridiculous, shiny gimmicks will not distract from the fact that Tesla is destroying our livelihoods. The tech giant is spearheaded by the Hitler salute fascist Elon Musk. He can buy out parties and is actively trying to bring Nazis back to power in Germany. 80 years ago, we had Nazi military industry, and now it's mega corporations like Tesla. On the platform X, Musk and his AfD friends spread their fascist propaganda. All of this agitation and lust for power we will encounter with a peaceful democratic revolution.
He threw a pie at a Tesla robot. What a fucking hero. That must have been like taking on the Terminator. And I've said this before, but until a few months ago, owning a Tesla, that was the vehicle of choice for every far-left virtue-signalling woke fucktard. But now the woke left have decided that Elon Musk is far-right. And yes, he's a bit of a Bond villain. But rich men dabbling in politics? That's nothing new. And no one on the left, the woke left rather, complained when in the run-up to the US election, the Labour Party, the British government, sent advisors to help the Harris campaign. So that's the British government actively interfering in the government of another sovereign state. Not only that, the reason that the AfD are on the rise, Alternative for Deutschland, has nothing to do with fascism or Nazism. The reason that across most of Europe the right are on the rise is that for the last 25 years, mainland Europe, the UK and Ireland have been used as a fucking dumping ground for illegal immigrants. Hordes of military-aged young men who say they're fleeing conflict, but I don't know any war where all the men leave and leave the women and children to fight, who've come to Europe, then the UK or Ireland with no intention of ever working. They've come from medieval cultures that don't respect anyone, in particular women. They bring nothing but fucking crime, and we, the taxpayer, have to pay for it. I shall now get off my soapbox.
If Trump declares martial law on April 20th, which is the rumor, we're in deep doo-doo. I'm terrified. This is absolutely terrifying. As a woman, as an American, is this The Handmaid's Tale? This martial law would surpass all police. How terrifying. Like, what do I need to do as a woman to prepare? Help me. Help me help others. I'm so freaking nervous. I hate him. I hate the orange clown.
So, what our pink-haired friend is doing is par the course for false victimhood. It's cherry-pick the information and then awfulise it. Because if martial law is coming in on the 20th of April, Isn't that Easter Sunday? That would be a very bold move. I can't see it happening. And for all these people talking about the sodding Handmaid's Tale like it was a documentary, there are places on earth right now where women are treated like that. It's every Islamic country. They're all jumping at shadows. Well, not the first woman, obviously. I doubt she jumps anywhere. In fact, I bet the reason she flies so often is because it's the only chance she gets to defy gravity. So there we have it. A morbidly obese Canadian who blames everyone else rather than taking responsibility for her truly astonishing size. An attention-seeking they-them with a vile personality. A confused woman who seems to base her identity on where she's allowed to urinate. A lonely virgin carrying out some light vandalism. And a woman who watched a series on Hulu and appears to have thought she was watching a live stream. And none of them are victims. Their hardships are all entirely self-imposed. Let's take the mother we met. If the biggest issue in her life, given that she's also raising a child, is that occasionally people refer to her as she rather than they, that life sounds pretty fucking easy. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like or a comment, that really helps the algorithm. If you'd like to support me making these videos, there's a link in the description to buy me a coffee, and I'm setting up a Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. Less than a week ago, I posted a video called False Victimhood. Maybe fake victimhood, I'm not sure. And here, I haven't got a signal to check. So something that absolutely boils my piss when I'm flying. Well, the wind's up again. Genetic conditions, that means it's harder for them to lose weight. But how does she even get on the plane? Does she go in where the luggage is loaded? Or does she go down to Boeing and they build the plane around her? So the server addressed them. Start again. So the server addressed two women as ladies, which is both polite and correct. Might not be correct. There was nothing ladylike about her. I guess calling a customer a hatchet-faced bitch doesn't go down well anyway. I had no idea that being trans mainly hinged apparently about where you take a shit. Oh, and the fucking wind's up again. A bloke's just walked past me, walking 6 huskies. Mate, you're fucking lost if you think this is Canada. Biggest issue, then life's pretty fucking sweet. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and fuck it.